Hello, Ram fans, and welcome to another edition of Meet the Rams Above the Rim. I'm Sports Information Director James McBride. Riding shotgun with me here, as always, every other week is the one and only men's basketball coach, Brennen Shingleton. How you doing today, Brennen?
Great.
Good. Brennen, let's talk. Since the last time we talked, you've gone in, you've had your exhibition that you had at TCU. You've come in, you've played Arlington Baptist, you played the number 7 team in the nation, Oklahoma Wesleyan, and then also you played Ottawa University of Arizona. Yep. You just want to touch on the TCU game a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a great experience. We got what we wanted out of it. I thought our guys felt prepared for the moment. We played 13 really good minutes, in my opinion. If it wasn't for a little bit of a stretch there before halftime, it was legitimately a 5-point game, and we all know how talented TCU was. But we took what we wanted out of that experience. We found ourselves a little bit. We figured out how hard we needed to play. And this schedule was not set up to be easy. So, part of this learning experience is facing tough opponents and adversity and essentially being ready to play in our league. So, loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. We got great feedback. So the guys seemed to enjoy it. I think at the end of the day, we got exactly what we wanted out of it.
Now, before we move on to talk about your other games, there was something that was entertaining to me because during the TCU game, I was listening into your timeouts and everything. You were not used to the TV timeouts that happened during the NCAA. In fact, I remember at one point in time, you're telling the guys they needed to talk to each other because as much as you like to talk, you can't talk this much.
Right.
Did that disrupt you at all, having those different timeouts, or did you see it as a benefit?
Well, so for us, our conditioning's different than those guys. They're used to media timeouts, and so a lot of times they condition themselves to play like 5-minute games, whereas we are only timing out for the rules of the game, not necessarily the media. So for us, you can coach too much in games. I'm a firm believer in games become management, not games don't become coaching at that point. You have to make adjustments. So for us at that TCU game or any exhibition that we've ever had Division I wise, it really slows us down a lot of times. Like for us, we got to stop and restart. And, I think I might have called one timeout in that game personally, might two, because of all the stopping. But it really does become difficult because our guys are used to just playing the flow of the game, and whether it's good or bad. But I don't know how they do it, man. It's a lot of talking. I think there's strategy involved in that I'm not accustomed to. So. But again, it was just the experience. It was fun. We got to learn, talk. Some of those timeouts were well needed, thank God, but other ones were a little bit of stagnant moment, like you're referring to. So,
now I'm going to talk about the rest of the season here since you've started out for play. You're 1-2 right now in the season. You beat Arlington Baptist. Right. You've lost to Oklahoma Wesleyan, and then you lost to OAS. You just want to talk about those 3 games as a whole and your team's performance.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a natural letdown after the TCU game. The excitement of getting to that atmosphere and then coming back home. And then obviously the games at home are always different just because it's like anything else. You get up for a moment and you try to figure out now, okay, we're in our season now. This is our channel to go down. And Arlington Baptist was exactly who we thought they were going to be. It was a tune-up game. We played well, not a great opponent. But then Oklahoma Wesleyan and Ottawa, Arizona, those are nationally ranked teams. And when the next ranking comes out, Ottawa will be nationally ranked. And so we knew that going in with scheduling. But you have to understand, the normal fan doesn't understand. 8 out of our 10 guys in our rotation are brand new to this university, and me, and this program, and even our opponents. You ask 4 or 5 of those guys who Oklahoma Wesleyan are, they have no idea. They didn't know who they were. They don't know how good they are. And so, James, the big picture is the guys that we're playing right now are preparing us to be battle-tested for our league, and that's all I care about. Our record isn't great. It is what it is. But the experience, the adversity that we're facing, the ability to come together as a team, understanding our opponents, finding ourselves and our identity, we're getting exactly what we wanted out of this. Would I love to beat those 2? Sure. But are we learning through this process? Absolutely. I mean, no coach wants to learn and lose. Every coach wants to learn and win. But right now, under the current circumstances, we're exactly where we're supposed to be. We're better for it. We're practicing well. We're starting to find our identity. We're figuring out what we do well and what we don't do well. And that's part of what we call a season and not just a couple of games. So.
Now we'll talk about your game that's coming up against Our Lady of the Lake, who beat Wesleyan, who is a ranked team also.
Correct.
That's inside of our conference. But let's just go back to these 3 games that we're talking about here. It seems like your scheduling you did this year is a lot different than what you've done in the previous years that I've seen.
Yeah.
What was your change in your scheduling that you did this year that you think is the big difference that's going to help you moving forward?
I'm assuming people will watch this as far as kids and our student athletes. They need challenged. When they are presented with something that they feel as if isn't challenging, they lack concentration, they lack motivation, they lack discipline, and more importantly, they lack any sort of consistency. And so when I put this schedule together, I knew that with the team that we currently have, I hope that we were watching this or going back to this in April, the team that we currently have right now needs all of that. And so if I would have scheduled lesser opponents, it would have been harder for us to learn how to be consistent, be disciplined, be tough, all those things that we're going to have to be to win our league. And so I figured if I do it outside of conference and not just try to collect wins for Coach Shingleton's resume or to make us look good, then we're going to learn this process sooner than later because we're not going to run from it. I mean, we can't stop the schedule. So we hit it right away. We get used to it, get uncomfortable, figure it out, learn, get better at practice, get better at coaching, get better at our team. So then when we get into our league play, it doesn't become new to us. And that's just a philosophy of coaching. I mean, it's just a philosophy of scheduling. Some teams like to rack up wins before the year and hope that that carries them in the long term, which I've done before, and it's bit us in the butt. Where this year I'm just diving straight in and thinking, okay, we're either going to sink or swim. And right now we're swimming. We're not sinking. But, you know, we'd love to have a couple more wins, but we're chasing that come Saturday, and that's just part of the process.
Now, one of the challenges you're going to have going forward right now is you've got the Thanksgiving break coming up and, of course, the Christmas break coming up, which you will be playing some games over there, but there is a big, like, 2-week, 3-week gap over the Christmas area. How do you keep the team challenged and motivated to move forward during these times you have these big games?
Well, let me tell you something. The NAI didn't do us any favors by taking 2 games away from us. Call it what it is. They want us to have more opportunities for other kids, but they took 2 games away from us. So that's a challenge within itself. The other challenge is the fact that you're right. We have these gaps within the games. And you lose rhythm, you lose focus, you have to get back to practice, you have to manage bodies. You know, the old school days of practicing 2.5 hours a day, it doesn't exist anymore. These kids aren't built that way. Everybody's tweaks or injuries, and they got to get to the training room and this and that. So everything's a challenge right now. We all know that kids nowadays have a hard time focusing on anything. They want to refresh everything. They want to do this. They want to do that. So we have to manage their schedules pretty well. You know, looking for extra days off, looking for time off, figuring out ways to keep them occupied throughout the day. But I don't have a formula for this. It's very disruptive to me to take kids' opportunities to play games away. And so when they narrowed us down to 28 games on a schedule and you can only play at certain days and then, you know, your window of opportunity to play here during finals, not during finals. I mean, you know, there are 2 semester sports out there. But basketball is the only continuous 2 semester sport. Football season ended, first semester. They don't get a large break but 1 week. Golf has 2 seasons. Volleyball plays their first semester. We're the only 2 semester sport that has to manage this. And it's really tough. And so that's why I've always said, and not to boost anything, but of the 7 conference championships that we've ever had, those are massive achievements because you're playing over a 4-month period. You're not just playing, you know, a couple of weeks here, a couple of weeks there. I mean, we legitimately are playing 2 semesters, 4.5 months, Christmas breaks, different seasons, all that stuff. And then not to mention the eligibility piece where kids have to stay eligible both semesters. So it's a challenge. And the younger coaches want to work day to day. I'm trying to figure big picture too. And as I joke around with my guys all the time, they're playing checkers. I'm playing chess. you know, and that's part of maturity, and of all of us have to figure it out. But if we and when we do succeed, it's because not only is the team bought into the day-to-day stuff, but the management of my coaches and myself, we're figuring out the long-term plan too. So it really is difficult, to say the least.
Will you try to schedule some team building activities during the break to help with things, or is that something you try to
Yeah, we will. I mean, you know, I'm not a hokey guy. I'm not one of these guys that's going to do things just to do it. I think there has to be a purpose in all of it. I mean, you know, we spend Thanksgiving as a team. I'm talking about together. Now, obviously, we don't do it all as a team because we all have different family obligations, stuff like that. But, you know, the Christmas break is something we every year have a Christmas party at my house. And we do a gift exchange, and it's always really funny because I buy all the gifts. I don't allow them to buy the gifts, so I buy all the gifts. So somebody might end up with deodorant, you know, and it's hilarious because it just so happens to be the person that needs it, not wants it. So those are funny moments. But, you know, a lot of this stuff just has to be, we're with each other a lot, you know, 6 days a week, and quite a bit of hours a day. So, and they live together and travel together and all that stuff. So it really is a unique deal. But the timetable of management of that time is really where your championships are won, because you can overdo it, you can underdo it. You just got to find the balance within your team.
And now moving forward, we've got two games I want to talk about because they're going to happen before we can get in here and do our next taping. The first one I want to talk to is Our Lady of the Lake, which you're going to play on Saturday down in San Antonio. You just want to give us a little preview of that game?
Yeah, it's going to be a hard game for us. Not only the biggest obstacle that we currently have right now is us. We've got to get over the hump. We've got to apply practice to a game. And then we need that production. And I'm talking about from me down, not just the players. I've got to do a better job, and then all the way down has to be better. And so Our Lady of the Lake is a tough place to play. Obviously, they're very well coached. They went and beat Wayland Baptist pretty handedly, you know, 8 or 10, but it didn't feel that close on the tape. So we got to go down there and do that. And then the following Saturday is a Saturday after Thanksgiving, which is always a tough game because, you know, you're on a break. It's a non-conference game, Thanksgiving weekend. And listen, we got 5 or 6 guys that won't be able to go home, so they got to go somewhere else. So, you know, it is. The holidays are always tough when you're away from your family. So these challenges are real, you know. It's not just going out. My program has never been built just going and playing. It's always bigger picture, the human side of things. We really want our guys to want to be here, you know. And so the challenge is always not necessarily just putting the ball in the basket, but everything that goes along into the game. And so if we can manage those things, we'll be fine. And I anticipate us playing really well this weekend and then coming back next week and regrouping and enjoying the break. Our guys, I would assume all student athletes love playing when school's not in session. They don't have to go to class, you know. You know, next week ought to be gravy. You know, we're rolling. It's basketball, food, and hanging out. And then when we get into Christmas break, same thing. It's the best time of the year because you really can just focus on your team. You don't get distracted with the other priorities of being a student athlete.
And since we're doing this show right before Thanksgiving, before we move on, I just want to ask you, what is something that you're thankful for? I mean, I'll say my family after everything I've been through this year is one thing I'm very thankful for. What is something you're thankful for?
Well, let me tell you something. We don't have enough time for that. I am thankful every day for not only the cliche things of my family and the health that I have, and that I've been, you know, granted this opportunity to represent this university for 23 years in any capacity in which they've let me be. But I think we just take for granted sometimes of what others have rather than what we have. And so I'm thankful for so many things, relationships, these players investing in us and in this university. But listen, I've got 4 kids at home, man. They're all healthy. You know, my wife won't watch this, but she's a little bit off kilter, you know, and I'm thankful for her. And I'm thankful for my parents and everybody that's involved. But, man, just having the ability to show up to work every day, to work for somebody in a program in a university that I think supports us. Ricky does an amazing job. You guys are tireless. Our athletic training staff is tireless, you know, and so having those people around us, we don't walk around and thank those people enough, but I'm thankful for you, James, and most people around here. And obviously, given the stance and the new president's leadership and all that, it's just a unique place to work. We do have a lot of autonomy. We get to choose and pick and how hard we work and what results we're looking for, so I'm thankful for all that. But simplistically, I'm thankful for my health and my family and everything that goes along with it. My guys that I work with that choose to work with me every day. I know you're smiling because you're thinking I couldn't do it, and they probably think that every day. And I appreciate that too, for them tolerating me, but I'm thankful for all that stuff.
Well, thanks, Coach. And then I want to put you on the spot here real quick before we get out of here. You want to give us a little teaser of the player you might be bringing on next time we tape?
I'll do this. We need to juice this thing up a little bit. We need to be retweeting and reposting and all this other stuff. So I need to bring somebody on here that, one, is going to make us better looking.
Okay.
Secondly, that'll bring some humor and character onto this thing. Because you don't want to fall asleep watching this. Like, this should not be a coaching cliche. This needs to be something like, oh my goodness, they said what? Or this kid did that. So we need to juice this up a little bit. Like, we need to figure out how to bring somebody on here that's going to liven this program up, because you and I are tired. Make it better looking to attract a female audience. It'll bring some more clicks. And then the third thing is we need to bring somebody on here that's going to, entice the crowd to say, man, I'd love to watch him play. I have no idea who that person is yet, but I'm going to figure it out.
So you're thinking by the end of the game on the 25th we should know?
I'm thinking if you give me another 7 minutes, I'll figure it out.
Well,
I don't
think we have 7 minutes.
We don't have 7 minutes, so I'll have to figure it out, and it'll be a surprise for our audience next time.
Okay, and then maybe we can bring some of your sponsors on in the
bring sponsors on, man. We can get cheerleaders. Maybe we'll pull a Corvette up in here. Something. Maybe we'll give away a Corvette next time.
Kind of like the old movie Johnny Be Good.
Yeah. What if we give away a motorcycle next time somebody's watching? Maybe can we come up with that?
A Hot Wheel one, maybe.
Hey, you're the one talking.
Raffle the
not
tickets
me.
off.
I will tell you this though. I think you're doing a good job with this, and I like it. But our goal should be to get at least 100 retweets on this thing.
Okay, let's make that a goal.
I think that's
before we leave here, if we can get 100 retweets for one show, what is in it for you?
I will grow my hair out for the year.
You will grow your hair out for the year.
For the year.
For the year.
That's 6 weeks.
That's a year? 6 weeks is a year?
Calendar year.
A calendar year is 52 weeks.
But we got 6 weeks left in the 2023 year.
Okay. So if we can get 100 tweets for one of these shows,
100 retweets.
You will go 6 weeks of growing your hair out.
I'm in.
All right, y'all hear that, Ram Nation? That's a challenge. We need to get that done. For Brennen Shingleton, I am James McBride. We will see you next time on Meet the Rams Above the Rim.
Remember, 100, not 99.